ginormous box for a ginormous fridge. Of course, it's upside down. Ooh. I will say this is completely well packaged. So this huge giant box contains the largest version. As you can see, this is why this thing cost $100 some to ship. It's because it's huge, and if I paid $100 some to have it shipped and it arrived all messed up and broken, I think I'd be very sad and angry about that. But it's in pretty good condition. There's a little bit of a tiny little bit of a dent here. That's not too bad. Okay. So on the left side over here, looks like we have, appears to be all the cables that you need. This is the, looks like the AC adapter. And this is just going to put out 14.5 volts at 6 amps, or basically maximum 95 watts. And this is the same type of cable that is actually used on my other car fridge. So it's very similar. Puts out 95 watts max. Then we have the standard 8 type power cord, it looks like here. Let me see. Yep, okay. So we got the adapter that will convert it to the XT60. Yeah, XT60 right over here. And then we have the 8. This is the figure 8 cable. Very popular cable. Very easy to find. You can even find it in the local 99-cent store down here, which is no longer 99 cents. And then we have the cigarette charger plug adapter. And I'm really glad that they didn't go proprietary with any of this. This is the same type of plug that I have with my other fridge. So yeah, we're good there. And it also has an on-off switch. How cool is that? I appreciate that. So it sits a little bit above what other fridge companies do. I'm talking about the cheaper ones. Okay, we've got styrofoam number 1, styrofoam number 2, and wow, this thing is huge. Okay, first impressions. This is solid. So remember when I said something about how it looks cheap? I think the final production is actually pretty nice. This is good quality, decent quality for fridge plastic anyway. And the clipping, locking down is actually really good too. Or I take that back about the crap that I said earlier in the campaign about how this plastic looks cheap. It feels solid, sounds solid, and here's the display over here. This is going to get scratched up pretty easily, so I'm just going to leave that on for now. I'm going to carefully pull this and lift this out. Here we go. Here we go. Oh, wow. That is big. Okay, so I got this giant box. I'm just going to put the styrofoam back in there. Close it up. And let's take a closer look at this guy. Let's get a closer look at it. Okay. This looked cheap, but it's actually really solid. This is super solid, guys. You can hear a little bit of the sound. That's pretty much the wheel. And it actually spins really well. There's ball bearings on these wheels. Yeah. The surface texture is actually a lot better than I thought it would be. It definitely feels solid. I take it back about how cheap it felt, because now seeing it in person, this is actually really solid. We have 4 different hinges on here. Okay. And down here, just flip this around here. Okay, back here, this is where the battery goes. And this part is the only part that I'm looking at now. Feels a little bit chintzy. This is just a protective thing. Purely visual, so it doesn't look as ugly as this does, because this does look a little bit ugly. But this is just the battery cover. And the battery, oh, slides in and out. It's actually a lot smaller than I thought that it would be, but it's only 299 watt hours, which is pretty good. It's got all the power ports in here. Let's see, it's about at an 80% charge, which is thoughtful of them to do. And you can charge it right here via the XT60, via solar panel, 100 watts, I believe 100 watt input in here. And you got the USB-C out and the USB-A output ports as well. You buy these things separately, so you can add more to it, and you can actually use them standalone, completely as a full-on battery pack. I guess this locks in place once I do that. Yeah, that locks in place, so that's cool. Back here, on this whole area down here is where the compressor is, like a real refrigerator compressor. But, ooh, I want to point out this section right here. Okay, so this right here, this actually locks. And it's got a nice sound. It's very solid. Like, that's not opening up by itself. And then we have some really thick insulation over here. Thick rubber seals over here. So that's not going to mess up anytime soon. They really thought this through. And here, of course, this is the 2-compartment version. And I'll showcase that in a little bit. But the 2-compartment version, you don't put ice in here or anything, but it has a drainage hole at the bottom. All right. So I'm going to kick this out of the way. We'll take a closer look in here. All right, here is the display. Closer look at that. Ambient temperature right now, 69 degrees. And I'm just going to plug it in off of my separate battery over here to the side. Separate non-Anker brand battery pack. And what I remember about this, about reading about anyway, is that you have a couple of options to power this up. You can charge a battery at the same time, and you can charge a battery at the same time and also run the fridge at the same time. But if you do that, you got to use the included adapter, which is this one right over here. And if you just want to run the fridge, you use this one over here by itself. And you could use the DC output, or if you're going to do AC output, you know, they give you this adapter here to do that. So there's a couple ways to operate it. So in fact, if you want to do both at the same time with one plug, then you use the adapter. And I'm going to do that right now. I'm just going to run this to my EcoFlow over here. Power this on. I'm going to run it through the adapter. And I've already saw in the details and statistics that this is actually going to take about roughly 100 watts total. So I'm going to plug that in there. Okay. As I did that, I saw this little light come on. And I'm just going to power it up right now. The screen looks a little bit dim. What is going on with that? You see that? That seems really dim, doesn't it? Let's zoom in a little bit here. Okay. If you're looking at it from this angle, it's really dim, but if you look at it from this angle, which is what you're meant to see, it actually looks just fine. So right now, as you can see, it's 71%. Down here is the percentage. This is the percentage in the battery charge level, which is at 71%. And then here's the temperature settings for the different parts of the fridge. So they're both at 63 right now. And I guess they're both set on freezer mode. So the bigger compartment, which is this one, no. Yeah, okay. So looking at the size, the sides of this one represents, no, this one represents this side, and this one represents this side. So we're going to see how quickly this gets cold. I will say, this is really quiet. I like that. This is a quality compressor. It might not be a Danfoss, but it sounds like a quality compressor. And from their claims, it will bring it down it'll get down a temperature. Like it will drop like 30 degrees in like half an hour or something. So in half an hour, you're pretty good to go. Ooh, I gotta say, this really does feel like a quality fridge, quality product. It is significantly bigger than the one that I had before because this is a dual zone, but wow. So I'm gonna spin this around and show you this side here. Here is the cutting board. So I can lift this up and then drop the quick release thing down here below. Where is it? I should be able to drop the quick release thing down here below. Here we go. There's a metal thing here. This serves as a little cutting tray / table. Yeah, I don't know if I want to damage this, but you could put a tiny little cutting tray table on here. You could really cut like this. Looks like roughly the size of an average carrot across this way, but it feels very solid. And then you can pull it here like this, or you could just pull it from here. So that's really good. Front of the unit over here on this side, we have what appears to be a bottle opener. And yeah, it's built right in. Feels really solid in there. So overall, my first impressions is it does feel like a quality product. So you pay the price for it, and it just, my first impressions was it just looked cheap, but now seeing it, touching it, feeling it, you definitely know that this is built super solid. And the lids are good. It's definitely better than I thought it would be. There's also 2 LED light strips here on the side. And if you look on the inside, there's a drainage hole. You've got these cages to help you. But there's a little drainage hole down at the bottom too, so you can drain out. And that's something that I don't have on my other fridge. Something that I definitely appreciate. There's 2 different compartment trays here, and you can actually remove this to separate it. That's cool. That's a nice little touch. That's not something I see in a lot of other fridges, so that really is a nice little touch. The surfaces appear nice and clean. I feel the cold happening on it right now. So I'm going to drop my sensor in there, put it right in the bottom. We'll see how quickly it gets cool in this ambient temperature. So it remains to be seen exactly if this is going to live up to the hype of the Kickstarter campaign. And I have to say, just this first impressions, I'm pretty impressed. This definitely feels like a really good quality product from Anker. And Anker is, of course, known for their power solutions and battery packs. And this is their first foray into something like this, of course, featuring their own very own battery pack right over here. So even though I have this plugged in, charging, and powering the unit right now, I could have alternatively just powered the fridge down below and taken this battery out, use it to go, or not even worry and use the battery pack at all. I could take this to go and use it as a separate battery pack somewhere else while using the fridge, just plugged in here, and have this charge via solar in case it's not convenient to have the solar panel near your fridge or within whatever length cord distance this is for use. But yeah, definitely feels very beefy. I weigh 175 pounds. I'm actually sitting comfortably on the cooler. I think we're going to try to use this as a secondary fridge, just for the time being, particularly since I need a little bit more freezer space. And this will do both sides. It will do both sides freezer, or I could do a combo, or I could do one size fridge, one size freezer. It can handle it both. So that's my first impressions of the Anker Everfrost. And this is, of course, the larger size. The statistics in terms of the battery usage and everything are going to be different. I'll show it over here. And with the bigger size, you get the more versatility. And obviously, it's a lot bigger. And it's definitely very weighty, but it feels like it's built like a tank. This is right up there with the higher quality brands as far as I can tell. And I like how quiet the compressor is. It definitely sounds like a good, solid compressor and fridge combination. All right, that's it for this video. Please give it a like, subscribe for more, and I'll catch you next one. Thanks for watching.